Bene, buon a sapersi. Buonasera a tutti. Hello, everyone. And we are delighted today to host 70 University from Ohio and to hear from them the incredible programs that they offer. And we really think that Italian students, Italian prospective students, may really be interested in hearing such important information that you're going to share. And Federica, would you like to say hello as well?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you to the... Oh, you're not working?
No. Yeah, we hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. So we would like to thank the university. I would like to thank them too to participate. For us as an Education USA Advising Center, it is really important to organize this kind of webinars where we can really offer the students what is resonant with our mission. So to help students explore the variety and the excellence of US university. Also university that they may not know so well because they are not so popular in Italy. So thank you so much to all of you for participating. And I think pass it over to Giancarlo for starting the webinar. Thank you.
Grazie Federica, grazie Laura. Mi chiamo Giancarlo Mariani e sono un rappresentante di Wright State University, però oggi sono un rappresentante di Ohio. Ohio è lo stato dove tutte le università di cui sentirai parlare oggi sono dove siamo. Molti di noi hanno diverse locazioni, ma comunque tutte quante nello stato dell'Ohio. Siamo tutte pubbliche institutions, perciò ci rappresentiamo gli uno con l'altro, mettiamolo sotto quel punto di vista. Io sono cresciuto in Italia, perciò capisco i problemi dell'italiano, mettiamo su quel punto di vista, però penso che i rappresentanti che ci hanno oggi vi daranno delle mani dell'aiuto a fare delle decisioni. Abbiamo tra di noi, abbiamo from Kent State, Color Kang, that is representing. We have John from Bowling Green, Lori from OU, and Jennifer from Akron University. Perciò oggi parleremo di diverse cose, la maggior parte delle cose saranno in inglese. Se ci saranno delle domande in italiano, però non avete problemi, potrò tradurre o Federica o Laura ci aiuteranno. Perciò passo la mano. I'll leave it to Color to start our presentation.
Whatever Giancarlo said. I'll pretend I understand everything he said, but thank you, Giancarlo, for the beautiful introduction about our group and this presentation today. So today's we're going to cover 6 different topics about why Ohio, but we also gave a little bit of additional introduction for the higher education US higher education system in general. And we'll talk a little bit about the countless things to do and see in Ohio, because when you're talking about Ohio, you're not talking about New York State or California, right? But you're talking about a very unique state has a lot to offer. So we want to talk about all the cool things we have here. And then we're moving on to the welcoming safe environment, because that is some top consideration for students to go study abroad. And you are not just looking for a school, you're looking for a place to live. So those are the important things we want to share with students. Then moving to the affordabilities and the cost of living here. So that will be covered from tuition to the living expenses here. And then another thing also want to consider is the return on investment. What do you get from the program? So in addition to the excellent academic program, there are also a lot of opportunity for students to go to do short-term program and the CPT and OPT, which they give them an opportunity to do a little bit of work while they're in US to getting that working experience. So we will cover that part. And then last but not least, we are talking about giving an overview of higher education in Ohio. So to start with, before that, I also gonna want to give a quick comparison between US and the Italian higher education. So as you know, you're probably fully aware of, the US education is a 4-year versus Italy, for you go to the undergrad program, it's a 3-year program. However, there's a one major difference for that year is in US, when you're attending college, you don't have to decide your major right away. And then a lot of courses composing and many most of the majors is composition of your major courses. That's a big element. So normally half of your courses that goes to your major courses, your core class. So that's something is not building you for a particular skill set, but more building you as a more well-being. So that we're talking about humanitarian, human science, the arts, mathematics, and computer science, all those different skill sets that helping you to gain essential skills as a nowadays professional. And then we're also talking about some elective courses. That's a third element in the university study. So those are for something you're personally interested in. You want to develop your skill set. Some people might take on design, music, art. So those are courses that helps you to feel like you're more, it's either can be part of for your courses that helps you to be successful in the major you study, but it can be sometimes just your personal interest. You can even take a class as yoga, or just help you to find your mental sanity sometime too. There's a lot of variety opportunities out there for students to taking the major courses. So there's a lot of flexibility on elective courses too. Even for the even for the core classes all the public universities offering. So you are talking about a variety of courses you can select from, like anything you can think of, they will have some options for you available too. So university is really not just a place to learn a skill set, but also important place to discover yourself and explore yourself. And as a matter of fact, a lot of students, when they're starting their program, they don't even make a decision on the major on the first year. Undecided or exploratory program are very popular nowadays. If you think about it, it's actually making sense. It's hard to asking a 17 or 18 years old kid to decide what you want to do for your lifelong time, right? So having an undecided program or exploratory program is really a good way for students to explore a different variety of disciplines and majors, talking to different academic advisors, talking to different professors, going to different kind of job fair, volunteer fairs to learn about what interests them. And also changing major is a fairly easy thing to do. So if you decide to go for one program, then a year later you want to change to something else, more likely you will still graduate in 4 years because of the elective and the core requirement that are transferable from one to another. Now we're looking down to the fun part of Ohio. So obviously we don't have a ocean next to us, but we do have a beautiful Great Lakes and beautiful natural landscaping too. So Hunking Hill is one most popular tourist spot in Ohio. That's a great place to go for a hike, a camping, and have a family get together, or go with your friends. They have a lot of places you can go try outdoor activities. You do have like very nice trails you can go for walks. And then they have beautiful cabins you can spend days to relax. We don't have a seashore, but we do have lake shores. So Ohio is on the side of the Great Lakes, and some of our cities are really close to the lake, like Cleveland. But it's also very easy to travel from other parts of Ohio. And they do have a beautiful like landscaping in the lakeshore. They do have beaches actually as well for people to go during the summertime. Cuyahoga Valley National Park is only 20 minutes away from Kent. I think I want to say 15 minutes away from Akron. And it's a beautiful national park that features beautiful waterfalls And then in the fall, the color changing so much, it's you really get to see a very beautiful trails that you can go for a walk, a very good place to observe animals too. And in the winter, they also feature 2 winter ski or snowboarding place. So for students who are interested in learning how to ski and snowboarding, Cuyahoga Valley National Park would be a really nice place to go. So in Ohio, we do really like our outdoors. So most universities here have parks within their driving distance, within 10 to 15 minutes driving distance. You will get like not just one, you get at least a few, like 5, 6 parks in the area you can go to. So either walking your dog or just go for a jog or go for a picnic. It's everyday's life for people here. And we do treasure our natural beauty a lot because of the attitude, we do have very big variety of trees. It might be problematic sometimes for me in the spring because I have bad allergies, but it's definitely something that we are very proud of to be covered with beautiful landscaping here. And then in addition to that, there's also some like really interesting fun spots in Ohio that we do recommend students to take opportunity to visit when they are here. Cedar Point is one of the largest, funnest roller coaster park. It's we call it's in the backyard of Ohio. It's right by the Great Lake, Aaron Lake, and it's features some like really 18 different like world-class roller coasters, including some of those the fastest ones. So that's like really fun place for students to go visit in the summertime. And Cleveland, Cincinnati are really big on the sports. So if you heard of Cavalier, if you know LeBron James, there's some famous, LeBron James is one of the players actually born and raised in Akron, but played for the Cleveland Cavalier and win the NBA championship. I can't even remember which year, but a few years ago. And then, so sports are big for US, and so basketball, football, and baseball are some like popular sports here. So do participating in the one of the sports events when students are here, that's like something we do feel like, eating a hot dog and sitting in the baseball field is a very classic American thing to do. It's a very interesting cultural experience for students. And then we also have quite a few zoo and museums across the state. So all the way from the north to south, you're able to see zoos and museums that feature different like themes. And starting from Cleveland, you have Art Museum, you have the Natural History Museum, then you go all the way to Dayton area where Giancarlo is at. Then you get to see the Air Force, the museum as well. So there's a lot of really cool place for people to, learn and explore. And some of the weird, city things, including Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. Those are 3 biggest cities in the state of Ohio. There's quite a few events and vendors in those places, not just the restaurants, but also some music vendors you can go to for concert, you can go for city exploration. They have wonderful malls to go to, wonderful shopping places, and a lot to really cool garden, like botanic gardens and other historical buildings located in those places to explore. And Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is another one. I don't know, we don't have a picture here, but you probably saw it somewhere. It's looks like a pyramid. So it's it's something that we are really proud of. A lot of people travel to here to making sure they make a visit to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not just because the wonderful architecture that was built over there, but also because the great collection that they have with their rock and roll themed collections from all the way from Michael Jackson to nowadays you can either see Taylor Swift's stage outfits there too. Then we have Amish country, which is a very unique ethnic group that is in US, and Ohio, Pennsylvania happen to have like some biggest population of Amish country. I don't know if anyone here, other than of course our Ohioans here, is aware of Amish country. They're very special. So they're sticking with a very original lifestyle. So they absolutely rejecting bank. They absolutely rejecting the electricity. So they make everything handcraft, and they make the best produce ever. So if you're looking for a really good gem, you know, Amish country probably have those for you. And they also make beautiful handcraft furniture, and they're very proud of it too. And then they make their own clothes too. So it's very unique. You say you go to Amish country, you see them riding their beautiful wooden made wagon on the road with their horses. I'm not even making this up. This is for real. It's like this is a place where their culture and their heritage was preserved, and they're moving on with it. So that's another good place for people to go to visit. They do have some really good food available in Amish country. I actually took my parents to go there when they came to visit, and they absolutely loved it. And then I also want to mention, because when you're in States, sometimes you probably want to very miss the food from the home country, right? We do have a very wonderful place in Cleveland called Little Italy. That's a place where they feature some of the best bakeries. They have tasty cannoli and very yummy cakes. They also features a serious Italian restaurant in the neighborhood. It's where the ethnic groups, you know, is a gathering, and it's a popular place for people to spend on weekend as well. That's like used to be when I was in the grad student. That was used to be my highlight of the weekend. We would drive up there to pick up some tasty dessert that will make me very happy for the remainder of the week. Now we're moving on.
Thank you, caller. My name is Lori. I represent Ohio University, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how the state of Ohio is a welcoming and safe environment for our international students. So first of all, I just want to point out that the state of Ohio has had a long history of welcoming international students. Ohio University welcomed our first student in 1895, so that's over 125 years ago. Many of our cities are part of the Welcoming America Network, which means that those cities have intentional policies and practices that are focusing on inclusiveness for immigrants. So you know that you are going to not only be welcomed in that community, but also there's an intentionality to welcome you and make you feel at home. We're going to talk about affordability in the next slide, but I just want to let you know, I just want to touch on that subject because the cost of living here in Ohio is very affordable. Our tuition and fees are very reasonable. And then with our scholarships on top of that makes it even more so. So I hope you'll look into the differences in cost of living and that sort of thing, and really see what the state of Ohio can offer you. On our campuses and off our campuses, we have a lot of celebrations for diversity and other cultures. There's a lot of holidays and special events that you'll find around campus. And most of us have what we call International Week, which is a week long of activities and special events. But the coolest part is that it culminates with a street festival, at least here in Athens, Ohio, where Ohio University is. We have a street fest where there's music, dance, food, and it's all day long. We shut down the streets. It's a really fun time to see all the different cultures that are represented at our university. And then safety is another one that's super important to our international students. And our campuses have our own police departments so that you'll know that the campus is patrolled 24/7, 365 days a year, and that you'll feel safe. There's other ways that we provide safety on our campus, whether it is maybe a free ride from the library back to your dorm room at night. You know, if you're alone and you don't want to walk by yourself, you can call a hotline and they'll give you a ride. It's kind of like a on-demand cab service. So there's a lot of programs and opportunities that we will offer our students to make sure that they feel safe.
Okay, so this is me. So what I plan to do with this these two slides is to essentially give you an understanding and a comparison of what the Italian education is like, and what that compares in money-wise in the United States. As an Italian, and has been there, and has been going to college in Italy and in the United States, I wanted to give you a little bit of perspective. If we look at the money value in terms of with cost of living, we're looking at housing, transportation expenses, food, health insurance, and entertainment. That's going to be a little bit where the variants are happening the most. Like we all know, in Italy, there is socialized medicine. So certain type of issues are not going to be a big of a problem. In entertainment, it's also going to be different based on what in the United States you would consider it entertainment and what you would consider it back home in Italy, that would be. So when we were looking at cost of living, I had to do some digging and some averages. So I looked at also at books. I looked at also what the, and added that to the tuition fees. And I also tried to do the best averages that I could find on the web. So it might be a little bit higher or it might be a little bit lower. So just bear with me, okay? So if we can see, if we look at the comparison between the states, which is Ohio, Michigan, which is right above us, and California, which is way far away from us on the coast, we can see that, yes, the tuition is definitely cheaper in Italy, but the cost of living, if we compare it in a median format to all the major cities in Italy, actually Ohio is, with Michigan, probably one of the cheapest. So I wanted you guys to think about that. Then when I started looking, and can I get the next slide, please? When I started looking then at graduation rates and the cost, that's where things started clicking a little bit more, and where a consideration to look into United States is worth it. So the average year for completion in the United States is, I believe, 6 years. In Italy, we all know it's more than 6 years, but the average is between 7.5 and 8 years. So then I started thinking of the annual cost and how much that would come in represent. So the in Italy, you are looking at a annual cost of, I'm going to give you the actual exact number here in a second, of 236,000 in Italy and 230 in the United States if you're actually going also for a master's. With that said, the biggest thing that so it's already cheaper for you to do it, considering the amount of time that you're going to be in the classroom, either compared to the United States and Italy. Also, the one thing that really is important to understand is the graduation rate. A graduation rate is the percentage of the people that are actually graduating from Ohio. And for students, it's 60%, and this is an average across Ohio. 60% of the students that will take a degree in Ohio will graduate from their program. 67% that will start a program in Italy will drop out. So maybe the cost is going to be a little bit higher than what, or around the same time, you could say, but a little bit higher coming into the United States. However, the investment and the return on investment is going to be greater. I did it. I started in Italy. I couldn't take it anymore. I came to the United States. So I just wanted to share to you that, yes, the money factor is a big key, but if you put that investment in time and money, it will be rewarded in a sooner rate. Let's put it that way. And I move it on to John.
Ciao, buonasera. Mi chiamo John Erdogmus. Since I used all my Italian, let's continue in English for the rest of the presentation. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the industries that we have in Ohio. After all, like Giancarlo was talking about, like the investment that you guys are doing, we want to kind of highlight the university and the connection to a job opportunity after you graduate. Because after all, we all go to university and we all get an education to get a good job, to get a good career opportunity. So we want to kind of touch base about some of the options that you have. So here are some of the industries and organizations or companies that we have in Ohio. Would like to talk about a little bit about as well. Obviously, Ohio and Michigan especially is a big automotive industry area. So you'll see like some of the big car companies around, especially after actually Chrysler was bought out by Fiat. So we have a lot of presence from Italian corporations as well. Matter of fact, this is a fun fact, actually, we were just talking about yesterday. In Bowlin Green, where I'm from, we have a company called Marelli. I think it's Magnetti Marelli, if I'm not butchering the name. So that actually has a facility here which sells like automotive parts and stuff like that. That they have a factory in town here near our university. So there are a lot of opportunities for students to find like different job opportunities and stuff. We have alternative energy options as well. Like First Solar is a big company in the area for solar panels. We have also manufacturers like GE, which does manufacturing for like windmills and stuff like that to produce, clean energy. We also have a lot of food processing and agriculture business options in the area. So you'll see like companies like Kraft Heinz as well as Kroger in the area. We also have a lot of bioscience related, job opportunities as well, but Marathon Petroleum is pretty big in the area. And Goodyear, another company for like manufacturing. Matter of fact, in this pandemic, time frame, we have seen Ohio as one of the top manufacturing areas, which is kind of hard to see in the US because we don't have as many manufacturing opportunities in the US in general, since a lot of things are outsourced, unfortunately. But you will see Ohio as one of the top three, continuously top three state in manufacturing. So there are a lot of opportunities for the students and job opportunities. So as a connection, we also kind of want to highlight, Color, if you can switch to the next slide. We want to talk about the internships that you have. It's a little bit challenging, so I just want to kind of touch base about the job opportunities. So when you are studying in, let's say, in Italy, it's possible maybe you might be working as you might be waiting tables, or you might be working at a cafe or something like that to earn some pocket money. We do have those options as if you're an international student on campus, you can work at like our cafeterias on campuses, or the library, or the gym, or some of the departments, they're hiring like what we call student workers. So you can earn some like part-time job, some pocket money. But we also kind of want to mention, you can also obtain opportunities like internships and co-ops, which are very useful, and that will add to your qualifications moving forward when you graduate from the university. So we actually offer opportunities in Ohio. All of our universities help you with that work permit process as well. So there are two options that we usually communicate with you guys. So the CPT, the curricular practical training, which is basically the work permit you get when you are actually attending the school. So when you're in school, you can obtain this work permit to do some internships and co-ops when you're studying at the same time. Now, these are usually like maybe unpaid internships or a little bit pay internships, but also something that you can definitely show as a reference when you graduate from the university. Now, the OPT is the one that you get after you graduate from the university. That is basically the work permit that you can start looking for jobs in the US. So that is also like we assist you with that process. That is the work permit you get after you graduate, which eventually comes to the the question when you actually go to a job interview. The number one question that they're going to ask you is going to be, do you have relevant experience? Do you have experience in this job? So those internships add up. So that's going to help you to say, yes, I do have the relevant experience. I work for so-and-so company. I actually have been in a workplace like this. So that will make the difference of getting hired, or them saying probably we'll let you know later on. So that's the part of the process as well. So we want to make sure that you guys get the relevant education as well as relevant work experience when you're actually studying in the US as well. So that's what we actually focus on at our institutions in general as well. And I'll pass it on to Jennifer.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to kind of wrap up this Ohio informational section, and then we can get on into our individual university presentations. But I'm going to talk quickly about higher education and how it is in Ohio outside of just maybe our 6 universities. So Color did a really great job explaining kind of how the US curriculum in higher education works here. And you'll see that in most of our, in the schools that are represented here and most of the universities that you'll find in Ohio, we do follow this kind of liberal arts model. So just a refresher from the beginning of the presentation, the liberal arts model is typically 4 years. You have some more flexibility because you're going to start in with those core classes or general education courses, which give you the opportunity to explore a wide variety of different topics. So, you know, you typically will have a psychology and a sociology and English. Sometimes you'll be required to do an additional foreign language, you know, ethics. Across the board, a lot of different areas, typically within your first 2 years. And then you'll get into your major courses and your elective courses, which allow you to explore even more. So this allows you to have a lot of flexibility to change your major if you need to, you know, add in a minor or a second major if you are interested in more than one thing. And also, you know, really just to graduate as a very well-rounded student so that you can go, you know, into kind of diverse industries within your area after graduation. So as I mentioned, in Ohio, you're going to find that most of the universities follow this model. We are one of the most, Ohio is one of the most populated states, top 10, I think, in the US. And we're also 8th in the number of international students that are studying here. So in the top 10 of you know, states with international students. So you're not going to be alone or out of place. If you come to study in Ohio, you're going to find many other international students. And I think it's a testament to the quality of the education that you're going to find here in Ohio, and kind of going back to that welcoming environment that Lori talked about earlier. You can see that the state is kind of divided up into these 6 different regions. I don't think we represent all of them here today, but I think we have maybe 4 or 5 out of 6. But you're going to find multiple universities in each of these regions. For instance, here in Northeast Ohio, you're going to find the University of Akron, where I'm from, and Kent State, where Color is from. We have 14 public universities, and then each of those universities also have some branch campuses. So kind of a smaller version of the campus outside of the main campus or the main city where it's located, where students can also study. We also have 23 community and technical colleges. These are often 2-year colleges where you can earn an associate's degree that you can then take and transfer into a 4-year university. So all of our universities also accept transfer students. Starting at a community college is a great way to save a little bit of money sometimes. And you know, it can also kind of help you get different opportunities of studying at 2 different kind of colleges or universities. There are also a number of private universities, liberal arts colleges, and art and design schools. Those art and design schools might be a little bit more focused than what I talked about earlier with kind of that flexible area. And I guess quickly I'll cover the difference between private and public here, since that is a little bit different than what you're going to find in Italy. Slightly, you still have to pay for both. So both have a tuition cost. Public universities are funded by the state. So students that live within the state and have been paying taxes to the state can sometimes get a discount on those. But in terms of the curriculum, in terms of the amount of time that it takes, you're going to find a lot of similarities between public universities and private universities here in Ohio. We all also offer scholarships and different opportunities, the internships that John talked about. So there really is, such a thriving education experience here in Ohio. And, our students really love it here. Wherever you're located within, any of these different regions, as Color mentioned at the beginning, there's tons to do and see. You're going to get an outstanding academic experience. You're going to have great internship opportunities. And I think you're going to be very happy with what you find here in Ohio. So with that being said, I think I'm going to throw it back to John for our university presentations. Are you up first, John? I think so. I think it's Bowling Green. There you go.
Yep, thank you so much. Yeah, we'll just go over briefly over our institutions that we represent. So I represent Bowling Green State University, which is in the northwest area of Ohio. And we are actually what we consider as a mid-size institution, but it's actually pretty large in comparison to Italian, I think, institutions. So we have about 20,000 students, about like 1,000, a little over 1,000 international students represented from like 70 different countries. We are about an hour and a half away from Detroit, about 2 hours away from Cleveland, and about 4 hours from Chicago. So the driving distances, I think, maybe we kind of touch base on these as well. So these are not really too far. It's not really too far, I guess up to 4 hours, I would say, in the US to travel. So these are very reasonable traveling distances. We are also a very small college town. So even though the school is about 20,000 students, the town itself is about 30,000 people. So it's a very university-centered small college town. And I think we have several different representatives also are in a similar setting. So we're more like a rural, what we call setting. So we have over 200 programs represented in undergraduate level and about 70 different graduate programs also. We do have language programs available as well. Like we do have a program in Rome that are students that are specifically studying in Italian literature. They also travel to Italy, usually once a year. We are also named one of the safest college towns in the US. So it's a very nice and welcoming area. And we do offer a lot of scholarships for undergraduate and graduate programs. So don't hesitate to ask if you guys are trying to, find an opportunity and a reasonable offer, and just contact us and we can look at your transcripts, your grades and stuff like that, and we can help you to get the best offer we can offer you guys. Thank you, and I'll pass it on.
Thank you, John. Again, my name is Lori. I'm here to talk about Ohio University. We were founded in 1804, so we have a long-standing tradition of higher education. We're located in Athens, Ohio, which is a small town in a rural community, and we are a very walkable town. So students can walk from campus to uptown, to the shops, the restaurants, the bars, very easily. We have about 23,000 students on campus, and 17,000 of those are undergraduate students. So most of our students are here getting their first undergraduate degree, a bachelor's degree. And so a lot of the businesses are catered to those students. We have 250 majors on our campus, but our most popular one is undecided. So 1/4 of our students start out as undecided students, as was mentioned earlier in the presentation. And then they go through that first year of exploring different classes, different opportunities. They work with a professional advisor to help them choose what is the best major for them to study. But we are also well known for our journalism and photojournalism programs. They're the top 5 and 10 in the country. So if you're interested in photography or being a journalist, whether on paper or in front of a camera, we can help you with that career. We are also a Division I athletic team for NCAA. We do have a few Italian athletes on our campus right now. So if you're interested in that, please look us up. I think right now we have one on the volleyball team, the women's volleyball team, and the women's soccer team. So we do recruit international students to play on our sports teams. We also have a wonderful variety of fine art programs that you can choose from, whether you are interested in participating or watching. So music, dance, Broadway performances are brought here to campus. So we want to make sure that our students are engaged and have plenty of things to do while they're here in our town. Thank you.
So next it will be back to me. I'm the caller from Kent State University, and Kent State is founded in 1910. We are actually one of the university has probably most regional campuses over here. We do have 8 regional campuses across Northeast Ohio. On the left corner, you see a beautiful aerial view of the Kent campus. We actually been named as Tree Campus for more than 10 years. And the city of Kent is known for the tree city because of the landscapings in area. You actually do see animals on campus. The tallest building in the center is the library, which is the very center of the campus, but also the tallest building in Portage County. It is a very important resource center for our students to either not just getting their books, but also it's a really good place for them to getting academic support. And then also they have speak easy area for students to go study. And we do provide a financial aid for our international students. So majority of undergrad international students were receiving a scholarship and ranges from $4,000 to $20,000. And then the grad students, normally if they get a scholarship, that will be coming through the grad assistantship. Some of our highlight programs in our 10 different colleges are fashion design, fashion merchandising, which is one of the best program in the world, constantly ranked as top 20. And the fashion design merchandising always ranked the top 5 in the US too. Translation is also constantly ranked as top 10 for the US. Business program is the one of the best undergraduate program reviewed by Princeton's review. And if you're using your phone or your computer screens, you're looking at this presentation right now, Kent State is actually birthplace for liquid crystal technology. So the screen you're looking at is eventually the technology was initially developed at Kent State campus. So in addition to those highlight programs, we have over 300 different programs from undergrad, master to doctoral programs. And we are often ranked really highly in terms of patent and research, as universities really focus on research. So not just grad students, but undergrad students will have the opportunity to do research as well. And on the top right, you see the arch of the Kent State. This is on the front part, right across straight from the downtown Kent. You also see this beautiful building that is architecture building. It's a award-winning building featuring no classroom because it's open space, open studio space for all the architecture interior design students. We are location-wise, we are on the northeast of Ohio. The closest one here with us is probably University Akron. They are about 25 minutes away from us. And then we also ranked as one of the safest campus as we are in the small college town, but we are also in the urban setting. So that means it's easy to still get into the bigger cities in the area like Madison, Akron, Cleveland, and Canton area. And another very unique thing about Kent State is we are very strong on the education abroad programs. So right now we have over 200 different education abroad programs in over 60 countries. I do want to mention we do have a Florence Center in Italy. So that's where majority of our fashion students, architecture students, hospitality and business major students go study abroad. In addition to that, we also have study abroad place in Geneva, Prague, and then we also the earliest member for the ISAP. So there's a lot of additional programs students can participate in as exchange student too. Giancarlo?
Okay, here I am. So let's talk a little bit about Wright State University. I think of all the schools that you're hearing from today, we are probably, if not the smallest, one of the smallest. I am a Wright State grad, so I do look at the things that attracted me to Wright State. The diversity in terms of programs, it is available at Wright State, not only at the undergraduate level, which is what you would do right after high school, which would be the mini laurea compared in Italy, and then at the graduate level, which is your la specialistica, we'll say, or doctorate, dottorato. So the opportunities that are there are available in different sectors and different programs that you can select. Personally, and one of the things that really attracted me to Wright State is the amount of students that are in a classroom. Coming from Italy, I was in a small high school, Liceo Scientifico, and there were maybe like 20 of us in a classroom. So I really did not want to have something bigger than that I had seen in college in Italy. So the average classroom in Wright State University is 13 to 1. So that would be 13 students to 1 professor. We do have a large diversity in terms of international students. We have over, I think, 114 alumni living currently around the world. But we do represent 58 countries currently on campus. And we're only 12,000. Well, I mean, only, it's a lot of people, but still, there's 12,000 students on campus. We do have the top sellers in terms of our programs are the business school, our engineering is well known. And the Wright State is in Dayton, Ohio. So right next to us, there is the Wright Path Air Force Base, which is one of the largest Air Force base in the United States. And that drives our engineering program, which gives opportunity to students to have not so much access as an international student, but be able to use machinery on a third way through other programs to develop certain research. I also wanted to point out that Dayton, Ohio is also the birthplace of modern aviation with the Wright brothers, which is where our name comes from. That's pretty much it about Wright State University. I will go ahead and send this over to Jennifer.
All right, hello again, everyone. I'm Jennifer Dixon from the University of Akron. We are also a mid-sized university located in Northeast Ohio, in the city of Akron. So it's less of a college town, it's more of a mid-sized city where you'll have a downtown and a lot of easy access to some of the bigger cities, especially Cleveland. So we have about 15,000 undergraduate students, and we also have a graduate school and a law school. We have more than 70 countries represented here on our campus, and that includes Italy. We do have some Italian students. We are really well known for our STEM programs, including engineering. Our polymer science and engineering program is the largest in the world. We have the first and only bachelor's degree in corrosion engineering here in the US. And all of our engineering programs are co-op programs. That means that they actually take 5 years to complete, but within the curriculum, one of those years is full-time paid work experience that you're really set up with through our university. So it's a great way to get that work experience, to, kind of have your resume ready to go once you graduate. And a lot of our students do end up getting job and career placements in the company where they do their co-op. We also have a top 50 public business school, and which has a variety of different majors. Again, really great internship opportunities, really great connections with companies here in Akron, such as the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, as well as really across the US and the world through our business school. So our students have fantastic opportunities for networking, for getting those internships, for preparing themselves for the world outside of college. Outside of kind of the STEM and business realm, we're also well known for our psychology program. We have the National Museum for Psychology right here on our campus, and that is open to our students. You will also see a lot of professionals from the psychology industry utilizing that as a resource because it has extensive records of the history of psychology. So it's not only great information for our students, but also a fantastic opportunity for them to network with many professionals in their industry. And we have a strong dance program with the National Center for Choreography here on our campus as well. So you can see our popular majors are engineering, business, anything within the sciences or polymers, psychology, and nursing as well. We are close to a lot of healthcare facilities right here in Akron. So that makes us a great place to study nursing as well. Our students here at the University of Akron are very involved on campus and in the community of Akron. We have more than 400 student clubs and organizations. Our students volunteer in the community. Our community is very welcoming for international students. There are quite a few community organizations that are centered around international students here in the city of Akron. We also make it easy to get around. You'll find that all of our public transportation, our public busing here in Akron is free for University of Akron students. And we also have shuttles on campus to help you get across our beautiful green campus as well. So I think we're going to quickly give you some information on the University of Cincinnati. Our representative from UC couldn't be here today, but we do have the slide if you want to go ahead, color and put that one up. And then if you have any questions, please put them in the question and answer box and we will get to them.
Yep. Here are Cincinnati slides. If anybody would like to take a look, we'll pause it here for maybe a minute or so. Okay. Here's a Q&A session over here. So if you do have questions, feel free to type into the chat. If you type in Italian, we're gonna need Giancarlo to translate.
Okay, thank you so much, guys, for your very thorough presentation. I've learned a lot of interesting things. And I have a question for you, which has not been covered and is related to the admission. So which are the requirements for applying to your institutions? So basically this is the question. So are you, the admission tests are required? I know that the students have to take the TOEFL or the IELTS certifications, but what about the SAT or ACT? Are you in the Common App?
I think, yeah, I think we should go over this list. So each institution will just talk a little bit about what is requirement for your institution. I will talk about undergrad. So right now, SAT, ACT are not required because of pandemic, and post-pandemic, we'll what's the requirement is going to be like for next year. We do not know that yet.
Okay.
However, at this moment, we do not require SAT, ACT. TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo tests are encouraged for students who are hoping to get into the program directly. However, if they do want to take in additional English courses before starting their undergrad program, they can also do conditional admission. So that allows students to starting with ESL program first before advance to the undergraduate program. And based on their academic courses, they will be admitted to both at the time of admission. And then for grad, of course, the requirement might vary, depends on the majors and the program they're going for. And some programs do waive the GRE or GMAT requirement this year. Again, for next year, we do not know if this is going to continue be the case. So just do stay tuned with the university website to see any updates on those as well. And in terms of application documents, the high school transcript are encouraged, and some of institutions here also starting accepting Cambridge English test, which is also
aware of that.
used as English proficiency test if they already have that score.
And there's also another question that all of you may want to ask. It's about getting back to in-person classes. What's the situation in your institutions?
Okay. Do we want to finish and go through the admission requirement first, and we can talk about in-person class schedule?
No, just because that's a question that was asked. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. Jennifer, do you want to talk about Akron?
Yeah, so pretty similar. We are on the Common Application for incoming new freshman students, and then we do require like the high school transcripts. Those will need translated into English, but you don't need to get an evaluation or anything. We will evaluate in our office. We accept the Cambridge, the TOEFL, the IELTS, the Duolingo, and also students that are studying in English, if they're primarily in English in their high school, we can typically give a waiver for that as well. We are test optional for SAT and ACT. So students don't need to have that. That's test optional for admission. It's also test optional for our admissions scholarships. So students can receive admission and scholarships without the SAT or ACT. And but if they do have the SAT or ACT, if a student has taken it, they can submit it. It will never be counted against them. But there are some scholarships or additional scholarship that can be added on for students with good scores on the SAT or ACT. So I always encourage students, if they have it, to share it, but it's not necessary at all. And I think that answers all of it for that. We'll go next to Giancarlo.
So Wright State has gone test optional, and pretty much I think almost everyone over here during the pandemic has got to a point where you can submit your ACT or SAT if you would like to, but we will not require you to do it. It might help you. For example, Wright State will take the SAT and look at the writing score as a English proficiency. But you do not have to do it. Let's put it that way. We do accept the IELTS and TOEFL for English proficiency. During the pandemic, we have added the Duolingo English test. We have added the IELTS indicator and the TOEFL home as at-home opportunities. We do also accept the Cambridge test, which is, I know that is pretty popular in Italy, so we do accept that as well. The one thing that I would advise in terms of like when you're looking for admission requirements is you're shopping around. È come se te vai a comprare un paio di scarpe. You need to go and look at each one of them, try them on, and then see which one fits best to you. Don't just look one school, look around. Remember what Jennifer said, there's, what did we say, 14 public schools just in Ohio. There's 23 locations, 24 locations on campus. So you go around and you look in the requirements will always be different. Okay, I move it to John.
All right, so we're in the same boat as well. So we accept TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo. So TOEFL minimum is 71 IBT. Also the at-home version, IELTS is 6.0 overall, our minimum requirement for undergraduate programs. And the Duolingo is 100, I believe, right now. And it depends on the graduate programs if you're going for a master's or a doctorate program. We are also test optional, so SAT and ACT is not required. And I think everybody also offers like in-house, basically like placement tests for English and math. So you don't need to worry about it if you don't have SAT or ACT scores. You can take a test on campus that is going to place you in English and math courses. We usually offer merit-based scholarships, so it's very useful to have. Even for TOEFL and IELTS, we do give scholarships available, to international students. So if you have a test score and you have a good GPA, we can provide some scholarships based on the scores and the GPA calculation. So that is available as well. I think it's when you look at it, SAT and ACT maybe like in the long run, even like it might be optional for many different schools because of the accessibility, I think, especially even the next year or so. So we're here to help. So if there's any questions from admissions and stuff like that, just let us know. We are on Common App as well. I think everybody's on Common App here. The only option, I guess advantage you can say is you can do the Common App if you're applying to many different schools, but also if you're doing the individual school applications, like in some cases, like in our case, it's free. So you can also save some money when you're applying directly to the school. So it could be like benefits like in both sides. So it's up to the student. If you're applying to 5-6 different schools, check and see if you can apply for Common App. But if you're applying to like 2-3 different schools, check with the schools directly, and we can give application fee waivers and stuff like that that could help you. So I'll pass it on to Lori.
Thank you, John. Ohio University does not require SAT or ACT. We never have for international students, so that policy I don't see changing in the future. If you do take it and you want to send the information, that's fine. Like the other schools have mentioned here today, it can help with scholarship, but it is not required. We do require proof of English proficiency, and you can use a lot of the same testing resources that have already been mentioned, TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo. You can find the scores needed on our website if you're interested. And we will be in person for the most part this fall. There may still be some classes online, but most of our classes will be in person.
So I will be addressing the course options for the fall semester. We are also starting resuming majority classes in person as well. And while there's a safety procedure still in place for the face covering and the physical distance, and then including some PPE products on the campus that students can use to clean the places that they will be using too. And then for the courses, there will be combination for both online and in-person courses. So for students who would like to starting their semester online, they have that option. And if they want to be here in person, they will also have, quite a few in-person courses available for them. As a matter of fact, I think for all Kent State staff members, we are aiming to resuming work. A part of people is going to be starting resuming work at the beginning of July. The remainder of people are going to start resuming work in August.
Okay, thank you.
At the University of Akron, we will also be resuming kind of what we're calling the new normal, kind of going back to having mostly in-person classes, obviously with some modifications, just based on what's necessary for student health and safety. And there will still be some online options as well. We have some students who may prefer to start their first semester from home online. That's also an option. So any students that are looking into that for fall, can reach out to us. But we're hoping by spring to be pretty much back to how it was before. Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Same thing, Wright State. We're looking at doing 70% in person for sure. That seems to be even more now as things are getting better. The great thing about it is that although you have an option to be in person, you can also you will also have an online option as well. So if you feel like that you can't go to class, or if you don't want to go to class for that period of time, for a small period of time, you can take assist to the lecture also online. That's where they're trying to move towards. So yes, we'll be in person. We're ready for it.
Right.
And it's same for Bowlin Green as well. We're planning on being mostly in person, and we will still continue doing. There will be some limitations, like my colleagues mentioned. They could be like some class limitations and stuff like that in terms of like capacity. But we also continuously, following the regulations and stuff like that. And we do have. We're lucky in this, I guess, in this situation. We have a lot of vaccines available. We continuously offer students vaccine clinics. So there's even this coming up like this for students arriving in fall. We should have vaccines available for all new students and stuff like that. If they choose to, it's not required, but if they choose to do so, they can actually get the vaccine on campus or in the region in most of our schools. So just to give you an idea, like almost, I think I was looking at the numbers, almost about like 5 million people are already fully vaccinated in Ohio out of like 11.7 million people.
Wow.
So like the goal is, I think by July 4th to have at least 65-70% of the population have vaccinated. So we'll have what they call like herd immunity. So that's the goal going towards like over 150 million people are already vaccinated in the US. So
that's great.
Yeah, I do want to say, I think vaccination is going really well in Ohio. And majority of people I'm talking to on a daily basis are all vaccinated. So it's especially in university setting, like when we actually talking about this in our group meetings with OIC, most university has on-site clinics for students to make appointment. There are also special, distributed assigned area for students to get a vaccination as well. So it seems like a really easy process for everybody. All the time, every single case was going to be for free for students. So no matter international, domestic students, you'll be able to get vaccination for free, and it's a very hassle-free process too.
Wow, this is really great.
Yeah. As of right now, 40% of Ohioans have been vaccinated. So, and it grows every day. So
there's just one last question from Denise, and she said, how should a dual national student apply if they have US and Italian citizenship? Are they considered an international student? Maybe
I can take that since I am one of those.
Sure.
They would be considered as a domestic student. The big difference is usually in your visa. So depending if you had a visa, then there would be something different to there. Then depending how the process is going to look like and how it's going to apply, it depends on each college. But an American citizen would be able to take advantage of what is called federal financial aid and other things. So I would say you would be more considered as an American than as an international student, although you will feel more like an international student than an American student.
Yeah.
So,
and
the feel will change, but the way things will work will be more like domestic.
I'll add one thing. At the University of Akron, if the student is living outside of the United States and has lived most of their life outside of the United States, we kind of consider them both. We call them a global nomad. The student would be in contact with our office, although they would kind of follow the rules of a domestic student, mostly meaning they wouldn't need English proficiency scores typically, but they would still be in contact with our international center and kind of have the option to go through our international student orientation and utilize all the resources of our office. So yeah, we kind of recognize that, you know, for some of these students who have been living outside of the US but have US citizenship, you know, they're kind of both. So obviously financially they can use the FAFSA and the federal aid, but kind of from a more social, emotional standpoint, we can take them as an international student and give them that international student support.
Great.
Okay. I don't see other questions. So I mean, our attendees are shy. They're still there, but they're a little shy. So I don't have other questions. Maybe Federica, you do?
No, honestly, they addressed everything I wanted to know, and it was so interesting to have this broad presentation about studying in Ohio. I learned a lot of things that I can share with my students. So what about our students today? Do they want to ask any questions?
I don't think so.
I
don't think so. But I would like to thank Giancarlo for organizing this webinar, and of course I would like to thank you, all of you, for being here tonight with us. Okay, so Denise is very enthusiastic about the presentation. No, we don't really see other questions, so we see your emails, and so probably we can get in touch with you, and the attendees can get in touch with you just in case.
I just wanted to say, for the people that are here, if there are questions in Italian that they would about other colleges other than Wright State, to feel free to ask me, and then I can gather that information and respond to whatever it is.
Thank you, grazie.
I can be the translator of the group. How about that? So feel free to contact us at all times. We represent each one of our schools. Siamo rappresentanti della nostra scuola, però siamo anche rappresentanti di Ohio. Perciò chiedici quello che vuoi.
Grazie.
Grazie. Grazie mille.
Niente.
Ciao bello, ciao bello.
Ciao Bella. You're great. You're doing great. Please come visit us. You're ready. You're ready. You're ready.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good
Thank you for this. You too. Have a good day.
Ciao.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
Ciao a
Thank you
tutti.
so much.
Ciao ciao.
Ciao Giancarlo, grazie mille.
Niente, quando volete.
Ciao.
Grazie.
Grazie mille.
Ciao.